As a professional psychologist and coach, I'm helping parents all the time with control battles. Today I'm going to share with you the only thing your kids need to learn about control and how to easily teach it. I'm Dr. Paul Jenkins, a professional psychologist. I've spent my entire career working with children and families. This model is the one that I teach to parents in all of the programs that we have. I'm going to share with you 5 easy steps to teach this model, and I'm also going to give you a free copy of it. In fact, grab the model right now so that you'll have a reference point. Just pause the video, come right back to it after you have the model in your hand. The URL is on the screen, drpauljenkins.com/stages. Now let's get into how to teach this model. As you look at the model that I've shared with you, control gets put up against maturity. We're going to start with control. So step 1, as you're teaching this to your kids, define control. It means control over your own life. And it goes from 0 at the bottom of that scale to 100% at the top. So you can have all the control or none of the control or somewhere in between. And usually it's somewhere in between because there's things that we don't control. Your kids are going to be very receptive to this because they know that you control certain things about their life, but they want to control more. So that's our first step. We're just going to define the control as control over your own life. It goes from 0 to 100% or somewhere in between. Now, step 2 is to define maturity. This may or may not be a word that your kids know. I have taught this model to kids as young as 4 or 5 years old. Certainly 10 or 11-year-olds can handle this, and teenagers pick up on it just that quickly to understand what we mean by maturity. Now, maturity technically means how grown up you are, right? So we think about it typically in age. And you can ask your kids this: hey, when you're first born, how much control do you have over your own life? Oh, hardly any, none. Yeah, and it's not exactly 0. I mean, you can make a big noise and a big stink, but that's about it. And somebody else has to control everything else, right? Because when you're that young or that immature, you don't get to have much control. Now, what about when you're an adult? How much control do you have over your own life? Now, as a parent, you've got some small print that you're reading around this because you know that there's certain things you don't control. But when I ask kids this, how much control do the adults have? Oh, 100%. Yeah, we're going to go with what they said for purposes of this conversation so that we establish that diagonal line that's on our model here. When we're first starting out, we don't have much control at all. When we become more mature, we have all the control. And in between, there's this line where we gradually increase in control as we increase in maturity. That's why we want to use the model to help teach the kids the interaction between control and maturity. Now let's go to step 3. This is where it gets exciting because we're going to expand the definition of maturity to be about stage, not age. And your kids are going to pick up on this, I promise. Help them to see that it's not just about how old you are. It's about how you behave and how you make your decisions. So we're going to break this into 3 stages. This again is consistent with the model that I've shared with you. Stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. Do you love those names? I know. I thought for a long time about what to name them. We found that people remember them pretty well with those names. Stage 1 is the least mature. Stage 1 is all about being selfish and self-centered. It's all about me, me, me. Stage 1 is demanding and manipulative. You're throwing tantrums, you're yelling and screaming and fighting and arguing to get what you want. Do you get this? Your kids will get it. Okay, describe stage 1 to them. And you could even come up with some examples together. What would that look like? You know, if I asked you to do the dishes, you'd say, "No, I'm not going to do the dishes. What do you think I am, your slave? This is dumb. You do them yourself. And you can use those kinds of examples just to make it obvious this is stage 1. Stage 2, we stop fighting and start cooperating. So stage 2, if I ask you to do the dishes, what's going to happen? Okay, yeah, I'll do them. Now, stage 2 sometimes involves negotiation, trying to cut a deal of some kind or working it out. But you're going for a win-win kind of a solution. We're going to cooperate at stage 2. Pretty simple, but we have to establish stage, not age. Okay, so we've got stage 1, stage 2. Now, what about stage 3? Over here on the other end of the maturity diagram, stage 3 is where we are truly responsible. Okay, we're taking care of business. At stage 3, we take initiative. Do you know what that means? Ask your kids if they know what initiative means. Initiative is where you see what needs to be done and you do it. I still remember I had this 13-year-old girl in my office with her mom, and we're going over these stages. I followed the same steps that I'm sharing with you. We defined control. We defined maturity. We expand the definition of maturity to include stage, not age. So we're on step 3 right now. You're with me. I was right there with them. And I asked this girl, this 13-year-old girl, I said, how does mom know? How does your mother know that the dishes need to be done? How does she know that? Is she just like superpower brilliant? And she rolled her eyes and she's like, oh, she can see it. And then the next question, can you see it? Of course I can. Initiative is where you see what needs to be done and you do it. That takes some maturity. And immature people don't even try this because they're busy avoiding or trying to get out of it or refusing to cooperate. See, stage 3 is all about initiative, seeing what needs to be done and doing it. Okay, so are you with me? We're expanding the definition of maturity to include stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. It's about stage, not age. I've got 2 more steps for you. Before we go to those 2 steps, take just a moment to click that subscribe button. You have found something here that is going to power up your parenting, so use it. You click the button. I promise I'll bring you new videos every week to support you as a parent. Deal? Here's step 4. Tie the 2 together. And here's what I mean by that. We've already expanded the definition of maturity to be stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. It's about stage, not age. The level of control or freedom that you get to have depends on which stage you're in. That's how we tie the 2 together. We tie control or freedom. And just a note about that. Freedom and control are basically interchangeable terms. They mean the same thing. If you have control over your life, then you have freedom. Your kids are going to get this because they don't feel like they have as much freedom as they want. They'll probably tell you that. So your freedom, your control is tied to which stage you're in. That's step 4. Now we've established that the more mature you are, the more control or freedom that you get to have. And incidentally, freedom is not free. I think you know this because you're paying the bills. But kids don't get that. Their experience doesn't support that yet. And thank you to all of you veterans who have fought for our freedom. Freedom isn't free. It comes at a cost. And the cost of personal freedom is personal responsibility, also known as maturity, the way that we've defined it here. So the final step that we want to take in teaching our kids everything that they need to know about control is that there has to be 100% control. The only question is, who's going to take it? Is it going to be you? And by the way, at this point, I like to very strongly voice my opinion when I'm working with kids that I vote for them. I vote for them to be in control of their life. Somebody has to be in control. If it's not them, then who? Well, parents are next in line. So if kids are not able to control their own life because of maturity issues, because of stage, then my strong preference is that parents step in at that point. Because third in line is the state, the government, the police, the courts, the Division of Child and Family Services, Youth Protection. and corrections. We don't want them to step in. So let your kids know too, when you're teaching this model to your kids, please voice your opinion and own this, okay? Don't pretend. Own this opinion that you want them to be in control of their own life. You're not there to take control. You're there so that you can if they default. Okay? If they're not mature enough to take control over their own life, you're going to be there to pick up the control. But our preference is that they get to be in control of their own life. Hopefully those 5 simple steps will make it easy for you to teach your kids everything that they need to know about control. And if you didn't get the model yet, go grab it, drpauljenkins.com/stages. I'll put this right in your inbox. I'm on your parenting team. I've got your back. Now, while you're thinking about this, you might want to queue up that next video, 5 powerful secrets for teaching children responsibility. You're going to recognize elements of that after our conversation here today. I'll see you over at that video.